The sun, our planet of ideals, hopes, and wishes, opposes Pluto, the planet of power, darkness, and transformation, on Friday, July 21st, revealing the shadow side of our goals and desires and forcing us to take a look at feelings we normally choose to run away from. Prepare for intensity, power struggles, and some drama. Let's talk about navigating this transit with more ease and break it down for all 12 signs. My name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western astrologer specializing in natal, relationship, and predictive astrology. If you'd like to work with me, check out the links down below. You can book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. And please subscribe, leave me a like or a comment. I appreciate your kind words, and it encourages YouTube to show my content to more people and helps my channel grow, which is one of the goals of having this channel, is to share my knowledge with more people. Before we dive in, as Venus retrograde is basically only days away, I highly recommend checking out my website for magical candles and oils. I just did a sale on these recently and the demand was really high, but I still have a few left. So Moonlit Trinity is the candle that captured Venus and Taurus conjunct the moon in Taurus, Venus in rulership, moon in exalted sign. And it's lovely for love, especially if you have your ascendant or your Venus in an earth or water sign. So it can help navigate any challenges presented by the retrograde. It smells like strawberries and cream. So there's the additional benefit of having it make your home smell nicely. And who can fight when the environment smells so good? And then I also have Venus Cazimi and Venus in Libra candles and oils. Venus Cazimi is green, decorated with the copper foil, and smells like apples. I love the scent of this candle. And Venus in Libra, actually both Venus in Libra and Venus Cazimi captured the strong Venus in Libra. So it's perfect for Venus in air or fire sign people, or if your ascendant is in a fire or air sign. I plan to light mine the whole time I'm dealing with the retrograde. I'm going to France, so my boyfriend and I will be doing long distance for a month, which I guess, I don't know if it counts for as long distance. I'll just be gone for a month. And it's the retrograde, so wish me good luck. And let's hope that my beautiful creations are, like, they're gonna help us. Okay, so this transit is exact at 11:52 p.m. Eastern on July 21st. We start to feel it building up very strongly around July 18th, and then it lasts until approximately July 24th. We always tend to do like 3 days before, 3 days after, because that's about like a 3-degree orb, especially for the sun. And it happens at 29 degrees, and you will feel it the strongest if you have any planets between 27, 29 degrees of the cardinal sign, because the opposition happens between the sun in Cancer and Pluto in Capricorn, right? So cardinal signs are Aries, Libra, Capricorn, and Cancer. So if you have planets between 27, 29 degrees, it is likely even more important for you to hear what I'm about to say. But it's going to affect all of us because in general, it's a pretty kind of intense transit and you can't hide from it. What's interesting is, like, not only this is happening, right? We have Venus about to go retrograde. We have Mars opposing Saturn on the 20th. It's just a lot of intensity happening at the same time. And they do kind of represent different portions of your life. So check out the video I did on Mars opposite Saturn and check out the video I did on Venus retrograde, because it will help you know what else is going on and how to handle it all. So the sun represents ideals. It represents perfect visions we have. The sun shines its light. People live their life by the sun. The sun is popular, right? In the general scheme of things with like the sun and planets. The sun is like the quarterback of the football team. And living in the US long enough, I'm starting to use football references. Look at that. My boyfriend will be so proud. So Like I said, the sun is ideal. It's a perfect image, right? But the ideals are not always truthful. Like the quarterback can be doing drugs or sleeping with his girlfriend's best friend, right? So when the sun opposes Pluto, I'm really proud of my references today. So I'm just going to take a moment to appreciate them. But like the Pluto will show the shadows. Pluto will show the truth, right? Like Pluto in opposition to the sun could be the time when something breaks through. It could be like a crisis of a relationship, a crisis of a situation. It comes to a head. It comes to like, let's say there's like a shouting match between the quarterback and the girlfriend, right? I've also been watching Friday Night Lights, so there is a little bit of that going on. But yeah, like there's a shouting match, or there is some kind of conversation or tension, or like if it's a work situation, maybe like slamming your notice down on your boss's desk and quitting and like leaving the job. So something dramatic, right? Something kind of upsetting, unsettling, something that can potentially wipe away the slate clean, right? If it's the job, you quitting the job definitely opens up a lot of new possibilities. If it's a relationship, then maybe you're open to, maybe you come clean about the fact that you want to open up your marriage, and then the relationship life becomes very different, right? Be very careful going into the darker side of Pluto, trying to grasp control and trying to manipulate other people, because Pluto can be very much about power and trying to control power. Instead, try to share power and share vulnerability. Know that, you know, even if your partner did something wrong, it doesn't necessarily mean that you now can control them or hold it over their head, for example. So be aware of that. Beware of the underhand tactics, manipulation, control, trying to provoke someone and get them to do things for you, or get their jealousy to show up, right? You may feel paranoid, obsessive, and this could be like very much an energy of spying on someone on social media. So be aware of that. Do not put yourself in a position that you're gonna suffer in, right? Try to be mindful and use this as an opportunity to transform, right? The healthiest way of handling the shadows of this transit is looking for ways to do things differently, looking for ways to grow through it, to be more honest, to be more aware of yourself, to be more clear about your desires, right? If there's jealousy, if there's like a fight with someone, you can take ownership of those feelings and ask, what does this jealousy tells me? If you're jealous of your friend who is in a relationship, or your friend who has a better job, maybe it's a sign that you need to look within and look for a better job, or, you know, work on your self-love so you feel happy while you're waiting for the right relationship. The goal is to approach things mindfully and to look for opportunities to go through them and level up, right? Be ready to change. You have to be willing to sort of release control and trust that the situation will resolve in the best way possible. And allow yourself to be surprised, but do not do it on your own, right? Like, it's a lovely time to talk to a therapist. It's a lovely time to journal, to meditate, to be proactive about change instead of letting the universe slap you in the face, as sometimes it does. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. Now let's take a look at 12 rising signs and see what kind of transformations and changes you might be ready for or going through. So if you are an Aries rising, the sun in your 4th house is opposing Pluto in the 10th house. And Pluto in the 10th will potentially bring up shadows at work. It can bring up power struggles with bosses. It can bring up your own stubbornness or your own fears, right? Like, how are you sabotaging your growth? And how are you, maybe with the opposition to the sun in the fourth wants to be at home. It wants to move. It wants to create a comfortable home environment, right? And then there's that opposition to Pluto in the 10th, which suggests that maybe you are working too much, or maybe you're compromising your time with your family for the sake of the, like handling a project, which I guess is similar to working too much. But somehow your home, your inner peace is being challenged by your work situation. And this could be a really lovely opportunity to transform the professional situation, to maybe, release the grasp, think of a different career. If you've been dealing with a toxic relationship with your boss, maybe it's the time to stand up to them and find solutions instead of trying to stay in the toxic environment and hope that things will get better. If you are a Taurus rising, the sun in your 3rd house will oppose Pluto in the 9th house. And here you're facing shadows connected to your beliefs, philosophies, and your guiding principles. Where are you being too narrow-minded? Where are you being too uncompromising? Where do you need to be more flexible, right? And also shadows or difficulties connected to education, travel, and legal matters. So with education, maybe there's some kind of realization about your teacher, or maybe it's a teacher, maybe there's like a conflict with a teacher or conflict with a classmate, some kind of battling it out, right? Traveling matters, like travel matters, legal matters, publishing, maybe the topic of concern. I think you're looking with the sun in the 3rd, you're looking at how you can start a new chapter in your life, how you can maybe present yourself differently, how you can get involved with people in a different way, maybe teach them. And with the opposition to Pluto in the 9th, you're definitely needing to examine your ideals and your guiding principles, and also ask yourself, what are you trying to accomplish, and where are you holding on too tightly to the idea that you have in your head? Because maybe it's the time to be more honest with yourself and also like be more clear about your motivation, and then go from there. If you are a Gemini rising, the sun in your 2nd house opposes Pluto in the 8th house, and you're looking at your personal resources versus money and resources you share with other people. Your personal values versus the money versus the values of other people. So in terms of finances, right, there could be some kind of shadows and secrets and tensions coming through when it comes to how other people spend resources they share with you. Maybe you are in a business partnership, or maybe you discovered that your partner did something. Maybe you find out that your partner has been gambling money away, and you need to have a tough conversation with them and address this difficult problem and figure out the solutions for it, right? If it's a business partner, there might be a disagreement about how to proceed and how to handle resources, and maybe definitely some kind of addressing the shadows when it comes to money and values in order to create a better balance, I think. 8th house also deals with transformation of your mental health. So there might be certain breakthroughs in therapy, or certain, like, even realizing that you need to go to therapy and you need to maybe look at some of your wounds in order to feel better, because we are still in Cancer season. This is the final transit of the Cancer season, and we are kind of dealing with a lot of emotional matters. So I think this transit for you can be very much about addressing the difficult emotions. And let me know how this resonates. Are you dealing with any financial power struggles or not? If you are a Cancer rising, the sun in your 1st house opposes Pluto in the 7th house. And Pluto in the 7th suggests shadows connected to relationships and business partnerships, but any kind of one-on-one, close, interpersonal relationships. With Pluto here, you may find out something about your partner. There might be something that needs to be addressed, some kind of obsession, or, they're bad habit or the secret they've been keeping from you, they can come up. There might also be, if you're single with Pluto in the 7th house, you may have to address some of the past pains, some of the fears you have connected to relationships, or some of the insecurities, right? And so this way you can become a better version of yourself, because the sun is in the 1st house. It's very much about you. Pluto is in the 7th, and you are needing to be honest with yourself and with your partner in order to create a better flow between the two of you and create a better relationship. And if you have, if you and your partner are disagreeing about something, do not try to manipulate them into getting on your side and giving you what you want. Instead, try to honestly talk it out and figure out a compromise. If you are a Leo rising, the sun in the 12th house is opposing Pluto in the 6th house, and you're facing shadows connected to your everyday life, to your health, to your habits, to your workaholic tendencies potentially, right? Having Capricorn in the 6th house, you're likely to work very hard when you do. You can also party very hard when you party. So the sun in the 12th, opposite Pluto in the 6th, is your mental health, your desire for rest, your desire for peace and imaginative work, versus the everyday, either time wasters or even like everyday kind of matters that you are handling that are not letting you have a good flow and good balance. Pluto in the 6th can also bring up conflicts at work. There might be some kind of disagreements and tensions with colleagues, certain unpleasant experiences, maybe competition that you have to handle. Because with the sun in the 12th right now, you really just want to, on some level, you want to rest. You want to take it easy, and you want to maybe work on projects that you're enjoying and sort of connect with yourself, connect with your spirituality. But Pluto in the 6th says that before you do that, before you have a good flow and before you're able to rest, you have to get better at taking care of yourself. You have to get better at dealing with work matters. If there are work conflicts, you have to handle those. If there are health-related matters, you have to address those. Figuring out your immediate environment so that you have space, so that you have mental space to take care of your inner environment. And let me know how this resonates. How has your work life been lately? If you are a Virgo rising, the sun in the 11th house will oppose Pluto in the 5th house. And here you're facing shadows and dealing with difficulties or some kind of unpleasant, sudden turmoil or sudden events connected to romance, creativity, and children. And with the sun in the 11th house, you have been, and we had a new moon here, you have been in this phase of putting yourself out there, becoming more visible, finding your following, finding people who are on the same page with you, right? Like you may have been very sort of driven by this ideal image of what you can be or what your like life can be. Maybe it's, let's say it's like a social media influencer. And then Pluto in the 5th house may say that you cannot be a social media influencer if there's drama in your personal life. What is this? There's drama in my dress life. And I've been filming the whole time with this. It's okay. So needing to examine your relationships, right? Needing to examine your, even your creative kind of, with Pluto here in the 5th house, like where are you holding on too tightly, right? Because maybe you're trying to become like a social media influencer, but Pluto in the 5th says that you are unable to share the control, right? Maybe you're too sort of controlling and your vision has been too set. So it's very much, how can you compromise? How can you transform something in your relationship to creativity, in your relationship to love, or in your relationship with your child, so that there is more space, so that there is more opportunities and more freedom to get on a new level, right? To pursue new projects. Even having to address some kind of tensions between your friends and your boyfriend or your partner is very likely here, because the sun in the 11th opposite Pluto in the 5th, maybe you have a get together with your friends, but then your friends with benefits, your friend with benefits crashes it or calls you and you kind of run towards them. So your friends can sort of stand up to you and be like, what is going on, yo? That's how I talk to my friends. We say yo all the time. Just kidding. If you are a Libra rising, the sun in the 10th house opposes Pluto in your 4th house, and you're addressing shadows related to home, family, living situation, your comfort and security. With the sun in the 10th, you are driven to work. You're maybe nurturing passion projects. You're maybe conquering new heights, doing more work, right? Sort of very much supportive, emotional energy when it comes to career. But Pluto in the 4th can create something in your immediate, in your home environment that demands your attention, that perhaps says that you've been leaning too heavily into work and you've been ignoring something that's been like simmering under the surface. You may have to deal with some kind of family drama, like maybe your mom being dramatic. Raise your hand if you have a dramatic mother. Maybe maybe there is, like something happening in the home that is distracting you. I always give this example of like a pipe bursts or some kind of, you have a neighbor who is acting out and dragging your attention away from work. So it's a sign that something needs to be transformed in your home in order to let you have a better work life, a better work-life balance. And maybe some pipes need to be fixed as well, who knows. If you are a Scorpio rising, the sun in the 9th house opposes Pluto in the 3rd house. And the sun in the 9th is a sign that you are driven to expand, you're driven to travel, you may be driven to study and try new things, right? Maybe even publish your work or present some of your ideas. And the opposition to Pluto suggests that there is some kind of opposition to your goals coming from the sector of communication, siblings, neighbors, technology. Maybe you don't have the technology that you need in order to expand. Scheduling issues can pop up, right? Sometimes your desires can be contrary to the people in your life, or maybe you have been you've been giving too much to people in your life and you've been sort of sacrificing your goals. So that may need to be addressed. There might be some conflicts and some tensions and secrets coming out in the life of your siblings, forcing you to reassess the things you thought you knew were true. Definitely with Pluto in the 3rd house opposite the sun in the 9th house, that reads as ideological debates time 1,000, because Pluto tends to intensify things. Oppositions tend to be pretty dramatic. So watch out for conflicts with siblings, neighbors. Watch out for really harsh communication. Try to be caring as you possibly can when you navigate these more challenging times. If you are a Sagittarius rising, the sun in the 8th house will oppose Pluto in the 2nd house. And similarly to Gemini rising, you're dealing with conflicts and tensions around money and values, right? With the sun in the 8th house, you may have these, you may have your sights set on the money from the government or the money of your partner or inheritance or some kind of partnership, a loan, a mortgage, anything like that. 8th house represents other people's resources, right? So you're driven with the sun here, you're driven to partner up, you're driven to pay off debts, you're driven to apply for a better insurance deal or something like that, right? And Pluto in the 2nd house can present difficulties. It can present some kind of problem where maybe you're applying for a better insurance deal, but they figure out you didn't submit a form or something and you have to go back to square one. There might be conflicts between you and your partner about how much you're putting in, the resources you're investing into the joint project, or even a joint kind of business potentially, or even your home, right? There might be some type of balancing you have to do. And Pluto in the second to me also suggests a need to take a close look at your values and figure out what is truly important to you. Is it money, or is it a peaceful relationship, or is there a way to kind of have a balance between those two, a better balance? If you are a Capricorn rising, the sun in the 7th house opposes Pluto in the 1st house, and here you may be the source of the problem. What is that quote? Am I the drama? I don't think I am the drama. So maybe a little bit if you are a Capricorn rising, because the sun in the 7th house is a sign that your sights are set on relationships. You are very you have been, right? We just had a new moon in your house of relationships. So with the sun in the 7th, the desire is to partner up, to enter a contractual agreement, to sign contracts, to go on dates. But the Pluto in the 1st house may be actually a sign that like your secret comes out and affects your relationship, or you need to deal with some kind of shadows. You need to take a look at your mental health and your tendency to maybe hold on too tightly, or your tendency to be non-compromising, or even your bad habits, or even like your kind of obsessions, compulsions, because that's what Pluto in the 1st house can be a sign of. So really needing to look within and needing to find ways to transform yourself and transform your fears, transform your limitations, transform your shadows in order to find more light in the relationship sector. Let me know how it resonates in the comments below. Pluto has been in your 1st house if you're a Capricorn forever, so it's not a brand new theme. You've been dealing with this for a long time. If you are an Aquarius rising, the sun in your 6th house opposes Pluto in the 12th house. And here you're facing shadows connected to your mental health. You're facing shadows connected to the past and things out of your control. And you're sort of looking at whether you're able to handle them. 12th house Pluto can bring up a wound that you thought you were done with and throw you off balance, right? With the sun in the 6th, you have been trying to improve your everyday life. You have been trying to take better care of your health, maybe have a better diet, better work routine. But then Pluto in the 12th can very much be like this wild card that gets thrown into the mix. It could be a sign that you need to handle your mental health better. Maybe it's a sign that you need to go to therapy or talk to a therapist, right? If you suddenly kind of do something that is unhealthy, or you feel like you've been trying to get over something but it's been taking a really long time, do not hesitate to ask for help. Asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. And with the 12th house Pluto, it could also be the blind spot sometimes is something that is important to you. It could be like a passion that you haven't addressed, or an interest, a gift you have that you haven't explored. So the sun opposite Pluto can also be like an inner sort of tension. It could be outer, but it could be very much like internal sense of dissatisfaction with yourself and with the progress you've been making. This is very internal and kind of personal and private energy here for Aqua risings. So make good choices for yourself and be patient with yourself and take good care of yourself. If you are a Pisces rising, the sun in the 5th house opposes Pluto in the 11th house. And this could be a few things, as it always is, right? But the sun in the 5th house really wants to have fun. It wants to spend time with children, be a parent, play, be childlike, explore creative hobbies, right? Like write or dance and like have a good time. While Pluto in the 11th could mean that there's certain friendship dramas that you have to address. There's certain shadows you have to address connected to your hopes and dreams and wishes, and maybe examine what kind of friends you have or kind of connections you have, whether they are supportive. to your progress or not. With Pluto in the 11th, you can also learn something about a friend that blocks your joy. Maybe you had plans to go out with a friend, but then you find out that they've been hanging out with your enemy, with your frenemy. What is the name for the enemy that is like the enemy? I feel like there is a name for that. It's like I can't remember it right now. But like some kind of tension between your personal joy and your dreams, right? And this could even be an example of maybe you really want to be creative, but you have been putting your dreams on hold, and it sort of results in this big either internal or external explosion, forcing you to take a close look at how you handle your time and how you take care of other parts of your life. How do you take care of your relationship? How do you take care of your child, right? Realizing that your joy doesn't depend on other people is, I think, a big kind of thing here, right? Like with Pluto in the 11th, you're looking at your connections, and maybe you've been feeling like you needed the approval of others, but Pluto opposite the sun could make you realize that actually you don't need to get a green light in order to do something fun, in order to pursue your passions or your hobbies. Let me know how this resonates. Let me know how the last few days have been for you. Like I said, there's a lot of tensions, a lot of astrology, a lot of busyness happening all at once. And I'm curious, how have you been holding up through it all? I'll talk to you very soon. Bye.